Yeah.
And finally, talking about hospitality.
Yeah.
I was surprised to find out tomorrow is National Hospitality Day, which really crept up on me. And I don't understand how it's crept up on me. We're supposed to be understanding what's going on in the world of hospitality. And all of a sudden, I saw this thing come out of the blue. It's National Hospitality Day tomorrow on the 18th. And that was a bit of a strange one. What people's expectations are, I'm unsure. But I did look at the website. It's being managed by.
Could I ask, Raj, whilst you're looking at that, who decides whether it is? Do you have to register the day with the government somehow? Or?
I honestly don't know. However, the people who are supporting this are the Drinks Trust, Hospitality Action, LTC, and Springboard. So there's quite a few charities behind this, and then obviously they've been hospitality. Quite a few hospitality organisations outside of those are also involved. But what I thought was interesting was, and there are some good things that I think really are important, but more so it's some of the fact that they're trying to revive hospitality in the right way. So I'll just give you a few things that they've sort of put down. One was to actually showcase how the industry had actually helped frontline workers and families during the lockdowns. Okay, because you've done a lot. People don't realize how much the hospitality industry has actually done. Well, I'll give you one example. We have a customer in Brighton, and during one of the lockdowns, he didn't want to close his restaurant that was attached to the hotel. So he was actually providing free hot meals to people. Okay. And I'm sure lots of little hotels are doing stuff like that. It's important to highlight it. The other thing is one of their aspirations is tomorrow to actually lift the national mood, which I think is a big thing to ask. Because how do you measure it? You know, if tomorrow turns out to be a great day for sport, how do you know it's not the sporting day and they lifted the national mood rather than your activities? So I think that's a big ask. But there are some other things that I think are really important. One is they want to create greater footfall and improve revenues for the restaurants and hotels, because we've all suffered. Yeah, we've got to rebuild the industry in many respects. And the other aspects that they've highlighted is actually the importance of hospitality. And we tend to, in terms of the local community and the social fabric of the community, I think we underestimate that. We really do underestimate it. We take it for granted. We don't realize how important it is to have not just hotels around you to allow tourism, but also the cafeterias and the restaurants and the pubs and clubs and all that kind of stuff. It really does play a big part in what makes up a community. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget that. And because we've been so far, a lot of these establishments have been closed for so long, it's easy to become disconnected with those things. And therefore we don't realize how the community has suffered because that disconnect has created significant distance. And the other thing that they've really want to push is actually promoting that a lot of work has been done to secure the environments, to make them safe, and to actually build confidence in getting people in. So those are the aspirations. I think they're all good aspirations. I just wish it hadn't crept up on me, because what is the build up to these things?
And how do you do that? I mean, some of the features kind of touch on that act of spontaneous kindness thing, don't they? Where, like, how do you improve the mood? It's a difficult one when I can only really imagine that it can be that there will be balloons in the street to make you smile, like street parties. It's also going to be kind of regional, perhaps. And we're both based in London, and it's nice. It would be nice to mention the Central London Alliance. Tony Matharu, who's they're trying. Whether you mentioned about re-engaging, I've forgotten the term you used, but there's little less activity now in Central London. in the hospitality world, or so we're told. There are kind of there's mixed information there as to whether guests did ever leave the central London hotels and go into the suburbs, because some are saying they did, some are saying they didn't. But if we were to take that principle, then yeah, getting business back into those areas that has suffered the most, really. Probably Edinburgh would be another one. I don't really know, but certainly central London. And yeah, National Hospitality Day. That really is an interesting one. So restaurants, pubs, but hotels as well. Gosh,
I think one of the things this really highlights is that if you actually think about some of the things that have been done over the year, I mean, the government introduced that eat out, wasn't it? That £10 thing, eat out, get your meal for £10 or whatever it was. Those kind of things should really be aligned to these days.
I would very much support this activity if they were giving away free beer, for example. Yeah. I don't think it's just not unreasonable.
Buy one, get one free.
Well, no, I want them all free.
No, but I think it is actually quite strange. And maybe this has become a problem in many countries, not just in the UK. Hospitality has become quite fragmented in terms of its voice. Hotels don't seem to figure in the world of the people who represent the pubs and the clubs and so on. And, it's because that fragmentation, it's hard to actually almost put together a consistent plan that will actually show the full benefit of tourism. You can't talk about tourism without talking about hotels and flights. You can't talk about, bringing people into your area to see the great things that you do, unless you take those things on board. And yet there is this disconnect that's happening with the communities. Communities, need their pubs and clubs and the restaurants in the same way that they need the local shops. So it's almost as though what's happening, and maybe this is why it crept up on me, is because that fragmentation of the way the industries are being actually promoted results in things creeping up on you. And really, we should all be aware of these things, because then we can all coordinate together and participate together.
Exactly, and the creeping up, term of creeping up, and just change generally, and a recognition that change is often, is a really uncomfortable thing. Change management, basically. And the realization that the world might totally change, things might change completely. It doesn't mean that the world has fallen apart. I would quote old, what's his name now, Darwin, were it not for the fact that if you do it on look it up on Wikipedia, he never did say that that the survival of the fittest and what have you. Anyway, let's pretend he did say it. It's those that can adapt to change that will survive, basically, and not the strongest or the most intelligent necessarily. So that's the argument against international AI for a start. Change. It doesn't mean that the world's going to fall apart or that it's the end of your world. You just have to adapt to that change, and it'll still be a good world.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you all for listening. And hope you join us on our next show. This is goodbye from Raj.
And goodbye from Richard.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.